Ms. Bhattacharya, you have, your story has inspired millions, and just like Zia said, you've had your own beginning. We faced you. It's kind of a storybook career, and now you have made this major change into the tech world. But at the State Bank of India, which you led, you had made some deep-rooted changes to allow women to come up and be counted. Tell us a little about what the things you've done there and how you think many other leaders like yourself can make these changes.
So let me tell you a story about Zia herself. I happened to work for her company for a little while after I retired. And the corridor on which I had my office, the first room in that corridor was always, the door was closed, but I could make out that inside there were some decorations hanging. And one of these days I got a little curious, so I knocked and I peeked in, and I found it was actually a one-room creche. Okay? And the lady sitting next door, she immediately rushed out and asked me anything wrong. So I said, no, nothing, I'm just checking. And then I realized, then she told me, well, I've this little girl, and Zia felt that, if I didn't have her close to me, I wouldn't be able to concentrate on my work. So very nicely, she's allowed me the use of this room. So the nurse comes with the baby and looks after her. She's right next door to me. And I'm able to work with full attention. Of course, that was Zia's way of getting her to work till 10 in the night. That's a separate issue. But the fact of the matter remains, it is empathy of that nature that's really going to change the story for our women workers. Because if you look at the kind of, leakage that we have in the pipeline, there is no way unless and until we understand the root cause, why people are leaving and why they're going away, unless we plug those gaps, there's no way we are going to handle it. I had created, a 2-year sabbatical for childcare and for elderly care. Elderly care, because in India, elderly care is a very important, element to be considered. Many of us have actually had the help of our parents and parents-in-laws to bring up our kids. And when they are sick, even if you have a caretaker, you feel bad about leaving them at home, in the care of those caretakers. You want to be actually there. You feel guilty otherwise. And that guilt is something that allows you to be neither successful at work or at home. So, people just give up and just stay at home. Now, if there is a way of handling that, which of course there is, I always say that even in the worst of circumstances, there are always a few bright sparks. The pandemic, one of those bright sparks was, as Roshni pointed out, the fact that now you can be flexible about working, and people have accepted that flexible is possible. So, those are the kinds of things that we really need to implement. And again, you need to look at the root cause. I remember, in the bank once, I was meeting with a lot of youngsters, and there were a lot of young girls. And most of them were in back office operations, operational seats. They were not in the front row. And that is, they were not doing really, things like managing a branch. They were not really in the front office, so to speak. And I asked them that, why is this? Because a lot of your, promotion opportunities depends on you being out there in front of customers. And why are you taking the easy way out? I always thought that they were taking the easy way out of doing these platform functions so that they wouldn't have to go. And then one of these youngsters, she sort of probably took courage in her hand, stood up and said, ma'am, it's not like that. So I said, then what is the problem? She said, actually what happens is, and this was, by the way, in the north of the country. So she said, what happens is when we get posted to the villages, nobody is willing to let out a place to stay to a single woman. It's considered, not quite proper. So we don't get a place to stay. How can we take a transfer there? Now that's a problem that had never even occurred to me. Okay? And it was quite a revelation. So subsequently, the bank took upon itself to create these hostels for women in the nearby talukas. We'd take a house with 2 or 3 rooms, and we'd ask the girls to room together, and from there, they would take their scooties or whatever and go to the branches and do their field work, which was essential for their promotion. But the fact of the matter is, it's lucky that I asked that question. Otherwise, we never would have understood what actually went wrong. So, I think when we are talking about leaky pipelines, we really need to go to the root cause. For everybody, there's a different root cause. And for all of them, we need customized solutions if it's required. Otherwise, it's very difficult to keep talent back.